delighted to have you on the Silverstone Podcast, Martin. How are things with you?
Really good, thank you. Yep, in fine form. Looking forward to the British Grand Prix coming up, and a bit of racing as well. I think we're going to talk about. And generally, we're having a wonderful Formula One season, and lockdown feels like it's coming to an end. So we've got some freedom coming our way. So I don't know. It all feels pretty good. I hope too.
Yeah, it's always an exciting part of the year, I think, when we're heading towards the British Grand Prix. The guys at Silverstone are working flat out. All the TV and media teams are working hard to make sure we put on the greatest event possible. Is it that time of year where you know it's going to be crazy, but you kind of quite like that?
Yes, there's always lots of anticipation, and normally I'd be making a lot of features or polishing up a lot of stuff we'd cut earlier in the year ready for Sky F1, but of course we haven't been able to do that. But we've got plenty of content, and we've become used to. I mean, hats off to Formula One and the FIA and the teams. We've had 26 races in 52 weeks in a pandemic, which is outstanding. But almost all of those we're used to driving in without our wheels stopping turning, and particularly I've noticed, when I'm doing the post-race interviews from time to time, that's when I really noticed the crowd missing as much as anywhere, when all you can hear are the fans cooling the brakes down rather than the fans cheering the drivers. So it's going to be great to see so many people, and we're going to have to get used to it again. I mean, coasting into Monza, for example, without ever stopping, normally that would be an epic undertaking to get into that Grand Prix. So we'll see. I'll never complain about a traffic jam going into a Formula One race again.
Oh, I don't know. It's not going to take us long to get used to it again and say, oh dear, here we go. But no, as you say, having the fans back at Silverstone will be amazing. Martin, if you would take me back, you obviously have a very rich Silverstone history, but what's your first memory of Silverstone?
My first memory of Silverstone is in the mid-1960s, going with my uncle. He wanted to go and see Jim Clark win the race, and he was a big Clark fan. And I was just mesmerised. We were standing on boxes and bits of wood at Cops Corner, as they used to do back then, building their own grandstands, and then ended up racing. Went to a number of Grand Prix, ended up racing, of course, in touring cars and sports cars. Formula 3, Formula 1, then I ended up on the board of directors there, then chairman of the board. And so I've got an incredible backlog of memories of the wonderful Silverstone circuit, and nothing better than heading down Hangar Straight early in the morning, starting a test day, as I did this week in the E-Type, actually, with Stowe Corner ahead of you, and just it's a magnificent racetrack, and with so much history and rich heritage.
For people who maybe haven't had the good fortune to be at Silverstone and come across a race weekend, what is it that makes it so unique to every single person that ever comes to Silverstone?
Well, it's got a lot of space inside. So unlike a lot of tracks, there a huge amount going on inside the circuit, because it's a big expanse, 800 acres, if I remember correctly. And all the drivers love it because it's so fast. We call it the theatre of speed. And, Copse and Stowe and all of the Beckett's and all of the incredible corners that, challenge the drivers. The cars look amazing around there. And whenever you're driving on it, you're thinking of the decades of history. It's where the first ever F1 Championship Grand Prix was held, of course, and so many other amazing events. So I think just the scale of the place, if you've never been before, is quite amazing.
I think people are going to be treated to such a festival of motorsport across the British Grand Prix weekend. We've got W Series, F2, Formula One. There's lots going on to keep everybody amused. And the backdrop to it all, Martin, is what seems to be a terrific F1 season for everybody.
It is. I mean, I'm almost a bit concerned now that Max is running away with it in his Red Bull. He's like, whoa, no. We want a really good fight. We don't want somebody else to just dominate instead. And we'd love to see Lewis win his 8th title, but equally, I'd love to see Max win his first title. Let's hope it, or however many races we can manage to get in this season, let's hope it stays a bit closer. Silverstone will be a big event for Mercedes-Benz. They need, Red Bull have just won 5 on the bounce, and Mercedes need to put a stop to that at the British Grand Prix.
I'm sure Lewis and all of the Brits will really enjoy the support from the fans that are going to be there. But not long after the British Grand Prix comes another big event for Silverstone with the Classic. And Martin, you're teaming up with your son once again, a fabulous union, to take part in the Classic.
Yes, we've got one of Jaguar Heritage's continuation lightweight E-types that they've built. And we
Not jealous at all.
It's beautiful. And, I've got a rich history of racing for Jaguar and in world sports cars and in touring cars and Daytona and places like that, Le Mans, of course, as well. So, and I love the E-type. I've raced with Adrian Newey at Goodwood in his lovely E-type straight 6 engine. It's very evocative when you drive one of those. And of course, they were such an iconic car on the road and on the racetrack. So, sharing with Alex, we first raced together 2012 at Le Mans, which was a wonderful father-son experience. And the most recent time we raced together was the Nordschleife in a 6-hour race there in an Aston Martin, which I absolutely loved. And in fact, I think it's the last time I raced back in 2019. So nice to get a bit sweaty and scared again this week. And I'm looking forward to the race. I'm in 2 E-types, actually. I'm sharing another pre-63 car with Gary Pearson, the man who at Pearson Engineering, who puts all these wonderful cars together. Alex is in a Lola T70, a Lister Jaguar, and something else. He must be in an E-type somewhere along the line as well. So, well, with me, but I think he's got yet another car that he's racing. So, full house of races. I've never been to the Silverstone Classic, read lots of nice things about it. So, I think it will be, and because a lot of the facilities get left behind from the Grand Prix. So I'm expecting like a huge, but somewhat more laid back event than the British Grand Prix.
I think the Classic is something that's a very tactile event almost. It's something that all car enthusiasts and motorsport enthusiasts can really get involved in. And you get to be part of the weekend, I think, a little bit more. And that must be something you're kind of going to relish this year, being able to not only have the fans, but have this huge array of fabulous cars.
I know. I'm hoping I can get to walk around them and have a look, actually. It will, yeah. We being approached by fans for autographs and selfies, we haven't had that now for a year and a half. So it's probably going to feel a bit strange, actually, in that respect. I might put my mask on and a hoodie or something and try and sneak out and just go and look at the beautiful cars. But
you're doing Nico Rosberg when he put on his hoodie and snuck around at Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Yeah, I have done the same myself there, actually, because you just want to go and see the cars. But it'd be nice to see people again. I don't know how it's going to play out, whether people want to be approached, whether they'll feel they need masks on. Sometimes people, take a pen out of their mouth and hand to you for an autograph. And I don't know how that's going to work now going forward, if I'm honest. But it'd be great to see the cars, fans, and I'm, looking at the race schedule. It's just wall to wall track action.
Yeah, there's a lot of celebrations, I think, at the Classic this year. It's the 30th birthday of the Classic, albeit a little bit later than planned because it was meant to be last year. The greatest hits, race card features as well. There's so much to look forward to. And as you say, the 60th anniversary, the E-Type Challenge. Do you hope to go in there and come away with a win? Is this a sort of race weekend?
Yes, I mean, I'd like to think we'll be competitive. I never something I taught Alex when he was very young, never underestimate anybody. So there will be a lot of very good E-Type Jaguars in the race, beautifully driven by people who are used to driving them quite frequently, year on year, whatever. So I think it'd be hard to win, but we'll be going for it. I had a reasonable turn of pace. Luckily, I've still got a bit of speed. Alex is outstanding in these. He's unusual for a young driver because he's still racing at Le Mans. That's his primary job, and he's got commentating, and then he's also got the historic and classic racing. So he's taken like a duck to water to these cars. So he'll be forging the way, and I hope I'm fast enough to keep it up. And let's see if we can get a podium.
Strange question here. Do you commentate yourself all the way around?
No, I only talk to myself when I've made a mistake, or I don't think I'm getting the best out of the car. I start moaning, criticizing, and using bad words and chivvying myself along. Alex, as I say, I think a lot of drivers do, but I can comment. I've commentated many a lap. I think I've driven 56 different F1 cars now, always talking as I'm driving them round, or you know, some of them are obviously in a Grand Prix, but no, when I'm racing, it's usually you very rarely congratulate yourself when you've got a corner really nicely, but you don't know, kick yourself if you messed up or braked a bit too late and locked a wheel or something.
It's funny the way we all work, isn't it? We're far happier berating ourselves. And just finally, for you and Alex, I suppose it will be quite special to have this union at Silverstone, a track that means clearly so much to you and your family.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Alex knows the place well, and yeah, I remember when they were kids, I managed to smuggle them, Charlie and Alex, onto the drivers' parade one day. Bernie and gang went mad because they didn't appreciate that at all. But I managed, yeah, on one of the old jalopies, and you know, they've been going to Silverstone since they were babies, so and they have the same affinity to Silverstone that we're a racing family. We think racing first and foremost, and then work out what else we're going to do. So Charlie will be coming along to support as well, and Liz, of course, who's got to watch her husband and her son in the race. But yeah, it's going to be again another great father-son experience, but the whole family can join in.
Oh, it's so nice to hear that the whole family is going. We all celebrate
Absolutely.
motorsport for the weekend. We wish you the very best of luck. I hope to read about you being on the podium and celebrating with the whole family.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenny. I appreciate that.